What is going on, everybody? My name is Clutch Sometimes, bringing you our, I guess, season 5. Is this season 5 now?
Yeah, season 5.
I think season 5 of the UPA Power Rankings. Power Ranking will be popping on the screen shortly. I'm just doing this in post, so a lot of this. So, but yeah, I'm joined once again by Btown.
Hello, everybody.
And M Dragon as well.
Yeah, how's it going, guys?
So, I'm going to do this kind of differently than I've done in the past. I'm going to be kind of relinquishing my control over to Btown, who's more of an experienced in this field and has kind of the thing, and I'm pretty comfortable doing that. So, Btown will be kind of running the show with this one, so take it away, Btown.
All right, we have here our division. We're starting out with Division 2 for Season 5. We'll go ahead. We did our rankings and have averaged them up, so we will go from 12 to 1. We'll go ahead and start with our collective 12th place team, which is the Alexandria Absols, coached by Quizith. He has Mega Gardevoir, Zapdos, Milotic, Tyrantrum, Delmise, Registeel, Regice, Infernape, Diggersby, Skuntank, and Mothim, also known as the Gen 4 bug, or Gen 5 bug, actually just the forgotten bug. Overall, Clutch, M-Dragon, what are the biggest strengths and weaknesses to this team?
Oh, I love his breakers. Mega Guard and with like in comparison with like paired with like Diggersby are really, really strong. He has great grass answers for like his melodic as well. Like,
yeah.
Great. Honestly, Mega Guard Zap is like really strong, like potential. It's like, you know, Zap will take on poisons and Guard just really thick, especially, and Zapdos will take U-turn and keep that fighting pressure off of Guard, but you know, it's really strong for it.
Yeah, I think the synergy of the offensive breaking potential is there. I think Infernape plus Mega Gardevoir is really good. As for weaknesses, the biggest thing that stands out is speed is the team. Like, I feel like it's gonna struggle with his fast breakers. Like, it is something Milotic in the back, but you know, something with like taunt and setup or something like that would be a pretty big problem for this team, I think.
Now, as you noticed, he took both Regice and Registeel. What are your thoughts on him not going full Regi?
Yo, honestly, that's a bannable offense. To be completely honest, I think it's bannable.
Yeah, I mean, that's the only reason we don't have him ranked at first, because he didn't take the other.
If you go full, if you went full Reggie there, straight to the top. Honestly, top one. That's even better than any of the Premier League drafts, honestly. But.
And finally, which Mon is the most is the one that will matter the most, aka the most important to success?
Oh yeah, so I think like Zap is really important on this team. Like, he's one of his very few defoggers. And like on a team that's like very, very slow in the first place, especially with something like when your speed caps at Infernape, you're gonna need to play a lot more defensively. And like Zap is a great like anchor to a lot of teams. So I'm gonna say like the Zapdos.
I agree with Zapdos. I think also Milotic. Also, another thing I want to point out is this team very weak to electrics. Like, his ground type is not very bulky, and his electric type doesn't resist electric. I don't think this team supports Milotic that well. Like, he's gonna have a pretty hard time versus fast electrics, in my opinion, especially with Tyrantrum not being very especially bulky as well.
Moving on to our number 11 team, which is Excessive. I don't have the team name up.
The Detroit Dracos. The Detroit Dracos.
The Detroit Dracos. He is headed by Mega Manectric, Black, Big Boy Mamoswine, Empoleon, Weezing, Archeops, Bid, Uniclus, and Whimsicott. what are the strengths and weaknesses of this team?
So like I really love like the Volt turn this team can possess. Like great options between like Manectric, Serena, Archeops to an extent, Incineroar, Whimsicott can U-turn. Like, and Kieran Black just loves the option of being around Volt turn and loves that like ability. I think probably my biggest issue with the team, and kind of a glaring issue that I know I'm Dragon will probably second me on, is this team like is really hingent on like Reuni and Weezing fighting resists.
Yeah.
It's like they're good fighting resists, but like they're very pressured in that role when you're kind of centering your draft with Ice Spam plus Empoleon plus Incineroar. It's really tough to overcome that at times.
Yeah, absolutely. It's also very weak to rocks, and he's only got the Empoleon, Serena, and Whimsicott, which that's double grass with double, both of them being with similar things. And again, Empoleon being weak to fighting. I think he's gonna have a ton of trouble with hazards, but like just fast fighting types, being able to like spam, like click fighting moves and just keep the Renicklas pressured, because that's the only thing with reliable recovery.
Whenever there's an Arachnid on the team, you always got to think about sticky webs. How well do you think this team grades out as a sticky webs team?
It's just not a webs team. There's no true abusers. Kyurem can abuse as a wall breaker, and same with Mamoswine, but there's no true like setup abusers that can like get in on webs and just really punch holes through teams. Like this team lacks a true setup threat as well, which is something that like
it lacks setup.
Like Reuni is a setup mon, but it's not. But you definitely don't have anything that like can set up their speed and just really kind of start trying to truck through teams.
Like Reuni is a very defensively setup oriented mon, and like we said, it's going to be very pressure fighting times, which means it's going to be not so freed up to set up, because it might need teams or top league or something like that, and that's just there's like a lot of setup lacking. I think a lot of setup mons being taken advantage of that, but just his biggest threat is the Mamoswine, the Kieran Black, and the Mega Manectric just lacks setup.
And I'm guessing that for the key to success for this team, you guys are going to point to Reuniclus, am I correct?
100%.
Absolutely. A lot is relying on Reuniclus, in my opinion.
And as much as I love like Kieran Black as a Pokemon, it's like one of my favorites in the entire format. I've used it many times. I think like including like tournaments, I'm like 5 at this point. Like I love that mon, but like it can bear like a lot of team pressure, but like it's really gonna need that. This team really is gonna rely incredibly heavily on that Reuni to try and take on like a lot for this team.
A lot, yeah.
Moving on now to our 10th ranked team, the APC Absols, coached by Dreamer. The team consists of Mega Aggron, Garchomp, Cresselia, Rotom Heat, Magician, Virizion, Literal Garbage, Momomola, Play-Doh, and guys, what are the strengths and weaknesses of this very unorthodox but yet fascinating team?
Yeah, I look. You look at this team and you go, man, who drafted this? And you look at the coach and like, oh yeah, this is a Dreamer team. I don't know. It's got like the Steel Dragon Fairy Core is really strong. He has decent Grass Breaker. His Grass Breakers are kind of weak for Azu, but like there's a couple mons on here. Like you look to like Cresselia, like the Alamola, and like those are mons I like. Haven't really been a fan of for a while. And like it's just it's a lot of the team works. I think if anything Dreamer will make it work. It's Dreamer, I don't know.
Yeah, I think this team is just gonna rely heavily on Dreamer to make it work because I don't know. I just don't like this team.
It looks outdated. It looks outdated to me. That's kind of the thing it strikes me as. It feels outdated.
I think it's a very bulky team, but it's very weak to toxic. Mega Aggron doesn't have recovery, and neither does Garborder and Princeton, but it's not reliable. And all of his bulky monsters are so weak to toxic. When you have such a bulky team like this, it's very useful to have like a natural hero, like Zero, or some sort of cleric.
He does have like the Agromola, you want to call it that?
Yeah.
The wish core there, which that works for like reliable recoveries back to like some of these walls like on like Garbodor, Mega Aggron. But like there's no true cleric on the team.
Right. I mean, Lunar Dance is like pseudo type of thing, but again, he's sacrificing you for Celia. I have no doubt that Dreamer will do well, but as a team, it's just not, it's just not my favorite.
Yeah.
Note, I always found that Lunar Dance on a Cresselia is kind of weird, considering Cresselia, it's hard to kill Cresselia in the first place. Why would you willingly kill Cresselia?
Yes, I had Crest in season 2, and I'm like, I would run Lunar Dance, and I would never click it, because I'm like, why would I want to give this this incredible fat wall up for just something bad? I never got time to click it, or I never wanted to click it. It's so weird.
One thing I will say is that I do like Lunar Dance. Obviously, he's got a ton of setup. He's got the Oz, he's got the Virizion, the Garchomp, the Minion. It's like he's got the Hoopa. He's got an absolute ton of setup, and I think Lunar Dance would be amazing for this team.
Now, you mentioned that you guys mentioned that the team is very fat. Now, one way to get around a very bulky team is to just set up spam. How well do you think Ditto does in its role to try to prevent teams from just trying to set up and overcome the amount of defense on this team?
To be completely honest, I'm not even sure it'll work that well. Because Mons like Alamomola and Cress all kind of promote sub to an extent.
Exactly.
So like, as good as Ditto is, he's gonna have to find ways to keep that sub broken for Ditto to really find his positioning correctly.
Like, it's exactly what I was getting to as well. He's got some decent phasing in Mega Aggron and I guess Garchomp, but other than that, I don't really see too much phasing either.
And finally, the key to success for this team.
It's Chomp.
Yeah.
Chomp's gonna be taking an incredible bear of offensive pressure, especially on a team that like bulky. And Chomp is very, very good, and he has incredible ice resist to like support it with like Aloe. Like Crest may as well be an ice resist in some matchups. Like Mega Aggron's incredible. Like Chomp will be very, very good on this team. I have no doubts.
Yeah.
Moving on now to our tie for 8th. We will go ahead and go in reverse alphabetical order. So we will now go ahead and start with the Burlington Bulbasaurs, coached by Skull. That team consists of Mega Lopunny, Jirachi, Hydreigon, Chestnut, Drapion, Horse, Togekiss, Rhyperior, Swellow, and Raikou. Weaknesses of this team.
I really like that. Obviously, the very like prominent part of this team that is very, very noted and very, very good. Mega Lopunny, Jirachi, Hydra, Togekiss. That's a team that core has been around forever. It does very, very well. You see it a lot because it just fits it's so well synergetically placed.
Yeah.
I love that. That core is just so good on this team. He has great spikes presences with Chestnut. He pretty much has every type of hazard on this team, which is nice. I think. He has every type of hazard except for webs. Which is nice. And he has a spinner as well in Blastoise. So.
Right. Weaknesses wise, I think this team is very, very reliant on Togekiss to be the fighting resist, because it's literally his only fighting resist. When you have a Mega Lopunny, Hydreigon, people are going to want to bring their fighting types to revenge them. And I feel like Togekiss being weak to rocks and just getting chipped easily, I feel like a Scar fighting type can go pretty soon. Also, I think he's too reliant on Rhyperior to serve rocks if he wants to run Jirachi more offensively.
Like Jirachi, like loves being run like more like creative sets. It has a ton of set options.
Absolutely.
Like
Absolutely. Which means the Rhyperior is going to be forced to be pull up and run rocks if he wants to run rocks.
Rhyperior no means like a bad rocker, I feel, but
No,
something
it's
that
not.
like it can be pressured pretty heavily in a lot of matchups, like a wide variety.
Yeah.
He has great like fairy answers. I think his fairy answers honestly actually aren't that great.
For sure.
Corrected. It's really pressuring like Jirachi to really take on fairies. That's his only fairy resist.
I mean, Drapion's decent, but you know, like
Its def is very, very low. Like his specs,
very
like
low.
a specs Lele, a specs Gardevoir, like are really gonna start like pressuring that Jirachi to recover, and you can get momentum out of that.
Exactly. One of the stronger points I think is he's got good like other hazards, like you said, like spikes is very good. He's got good removal. I think he offensively supports Lopunny well, but not defensively. I love the Lopunny Hydreigon. And like fairies, yeah, Jirachi's pretty good at dealing with most of them. But defensively, like if you want to switch into a strong close combat, it's going to be Togekiss, and that's it.
Whenever a team drafts both Jirachi and Togekiss, they are always seem to be destined to be on the positive side of hacks. Why do you think that is, and do you think that this team is set up to be more of the hacks aggressor, or could be set up to potentially get hacked more themselves?
I think this team can play more aggressively with it. I think obviously you have like the team has like great like the hazards are going to help immensely with that and taking advantage of like
Right.
something that's like really great with like that Rashi Togekiss combo is always obviously the T spikes, because you get way more out of a turn if you flinch. Because not only do you get the flinch and they like lose that turn, you get the extra damage off T spikes as well. Same with like Lopunny fake outs can take more advantage of that opportunity. Like even if you're clicking on something you're faster then. But we'll move on from that. I think this team can like take more of an aggressive stance, but there are matchups where this slower backbone could be a little more prone to taking the hits that they don't want to and all that. So and it kind of goes both ways here.
I do like that he's got Repco, the pressure bulky waters that can sometimes wall, Mega Lob, plus Jirachi. And Hydreigon helps there as well.
Yeah, Hydra can take on waters really, really well.
And finally, the key to success for this team.
It's Lopunny. Lopunny on spikes is like the greatest thing ever. I will swear by Lopunny on spikes forever. Having one on chip with Lopunny on spikes, it's so good. If you can position like Lopunny with like hazards up is so hard to deal with, especially if you don't have like a Reuniculus, like because your fairy or psychic's taking like 20% of the way in that 3 KO that you had with like just rocks up becomes that 2 KO with the extra layer of hazards.
Yeah. Oh. Yeah, I agree. I think it's the combination of Lopunny and Dragon. For sure.
Now moving on to the other team tied for 8, the Oakland Remorators, coached by Beardy Bennett. His team includes Snowball with a Beard, Zorora, Scizor, Tentacruel, Granbull, Girder, Latios, Decidueye, Miltank, and Arcanine. The strengths and weaknesses of this team.
I think this is just a lot of mods that Beardy like knows and is comfortable with. I don't know who I mentioned it to, but I thought like a lot of his picks were kind of like reaches at times and like I think this is just a team that Beardy's very generally comfortable with, which is obviously a very good strength to have.
Yeah.
Zero or Latios is really strong, I think. Like that's a really solid offensive core.
For sure.
Obviously, his speed's really strong. I mean, once you add that Zero, your speed automatically becomes very, very good because Zero is very, very fast.
Very fast.
My biggest thing on this team, though, his lack of rockers, his lack of just hazards in general, is really, really frustrating. There's a Miltank for Carlos that rocks, no spikes. He has a T-Spiker and a Tentacruel, which is decent. It's a very good T-Spiker, but he doesn't have really true ways of taking advantage of T-Spikes, which is a little bit annoying at times.
Yeah, for sure. I really like the Zero with Latios, but I feel like he struggles against grounds a little bit. Latios is good, but it's not that bulky at all. Like, doesn't want to take coverage move. Like, if you look at ground versus ice versus team, that's better for coverage.
Yeah, like the Mammoth One matchup.
Yeah, it's not something that you want, especially when your main sort of offensive turret is Zero. So grounds can run 2 moves and cover your entire team. It's not good. Like if this was Mega Scissor instead of regular Scissor, then that wouldn't have been a problem, I think. But Scissor is not quite as bulky as Mega Scissor.
Speaking of Scissor, Scissor was one of the big movers in the tier updates from Tier 1 to Tier 2. How do you think he will how do you think Scissor will fare out as a Tier 2 for a team compared to a Tier 1 in previous seasons?
It's a great amount of value in Tier 2. I think it's really strong. I don't think Scissor's fine in Tier 2 though. It does a good amount of work in a lot of matchups, but it's definitely that bulk stat that it gets out of Mega is just so vital to Mega Scissor's success.
Yeah, I think the regular Scissor Tier 2 is strong, good. I think Mega Glowly is sort of like the wild card for me. If he can use it well too.
Oh, he does have spikes. He has Mega Glowly. How did I forget?
Mega Glowly.
I forget Mega Glowly gets spikes. Call switches in steel types.
I mean, it can fit spikes, but I don't know. I feel like it's better off clicking attacks. Sort of like Diggersby, where Diggersby does get spikes, but it's so strong.
You just want to hit as many as possible.
Attack.
Yeah.
And a bonus question for this is that, as you mentioned, not knowing that Mega Glalie got spikes, how big of an advantage is it to, in a gen that has seemed to have lasted forever, be able to have a mon that a lot of people may not have experience against?
I don't know. Mega Glalie is alright. I don't think it's that good. It'll break grasses for a team like this. This team is it'll break grasses for the team, but I think both. I don't think his main grass breakers, Arcanine and Glalie, are both weak to rocks, which is kind of how it goes for the most part. But it definitely is Glalie's just since with the nerf of the 8 abilities to this gen, it just doesn't hit it near as hard as it really wants to.
It doesn't hit near as hard, and even though it does have stab for his drive with the 120 special attack, it's not quite strong enough to be water types. I think Mega Glalie is fine. I don't think bad. I don't think it's good either. So it's okay.
It's just okay.
Finally, the key to success for this team.
Oh, Zeraora.
Zeraora.
I will. That mon is very quickly grown. Since it's came out and everyone's I don't know where it should be.
Yeah.
It's very, very quickly grown to one of the more highly rated tier 1s, especially in our circles. I think it's incredible.
I was talking to Sis about this earlier today, and he was like, it's almost it's crazy how good this thing is. I think it's top 5, it's definitely top 7 mons in Craft League. It's kind of crazy how good this thing is.
Oh my goodness. Zera is so good.
Moving on now to our number 7 team, which is the Memphis Magmars, coached by Midnight. Their team is headed up by the Fairy Dragon Steel Core of Mega Charizard X, Celestelia, and Florges. Also appearing on the team are Vaporeon, Mienshao, Electivire, Scyther, Gliscor, Serperior, Mesprit, and regular Ampharos. Strengths and weaknesses.
Zardak, Selly, Gliscor, Vaporeon, incredible. That's such a great start to any draft. Anyone would kill for that. Like Zardak, Selly just itself is just like, that's nice. Then you had like a couple of good rockers, and then like, yeah, this is a really like they're like there's like 5 or 6 months in this draft that are just phenomenal. Like and then there's like a couple months. It's like this one is like lower tiers. I don't necessarily agree with. I don't like Scyther that much in this team. One of the electrics I think doesn't need to be there.
I think it's a bit on the slow side, like being like what is it? Superior being his fastest mon.
Yes.
Yeah, and he does have a couple of base 105s there, but it's kind of like he could be pretty weak to like fast taunt. Because Florges is really weak to taunt. So Celesteela can be, but Vaporeon is weak to taunt, and Gliscor can be as well. So it has to be kind of tricky. But the Charizard does help out there because you don't want to be taunting Charizard that can pretty much kill most things in one hit.
The kind of biggest complaint about this team though, you have like this really strong offense and like a couple of decent like defoggers and like Gliscor, Serp is an okay defogger because it can beat grounds.
Yeah.
But you don't really have stealth rockers. It's literally only Gliscor.
Yeah.
And like
it's Gliscor and Mesprit, but
and like
it's just 2 rockers.
2 rockers. I think 3 is a good number for most drafts. Gives you just a good amount of options. And like Gliscor, like is a very very good stealth rocker. I'm not trying to say it's not. But it's something that like you don't want to pressure to run rocks because Gliscor kind of has those like. Sometimes I've used like the time I used Gliscor, I felt like I wanted to run like a lot of different moves on Gliscor.
There's a lot of options, like Swords Dance, Taunt, Roost, Defog, Facade, coverage. There's a ton of options.
Knock
forcing it to run
U-turn.
Right,
just toxic in general.
Like run rocks is not what you want to do.
Yeah, and like. It's just like keeping that rocks pressure off of Gliscor is really, really nice and just.
Yeah.
But you had one more thing to say?
Yeah, I do like that he's got a good amount of defoggers for Charizard.
Yeah.
Serp's okay. Florges is pretty good. And then Gliscor, but like I said, it could be pretty prone to taunt there.
As I was actually going to go into, is how important is it, especially for having a Charizard, Mega Charizard X, to have not 1, not 2, but 3 defoggers that are neutral that are not rock weak.
Oh, so nice.
Oh yeah, for sure. That's very nice to have. And I'm just looking at a taunt Tornadus visiting, and like sort of tough for it to deal with. That's where the electrics do help, but neither of them are known to be very bulky.
And finally, the key to success.
Oh, Celesteela. Being it seems like it's like Selly or Vape. I think we mentioned Vape like pre-show. Like I
think it could be.
I think it can be one of the two. I think, but Selly's just so good.
Yeah.
But he just.
I think he could be Serp as well. Like if Selly can sort of lure fires and grasses, get rid of them, and Charizard can get rid of grass. Like if Selly and Zard can deal with the grass resist that opponents have, and Serp might be able to get a sweep going.
If you control the ice weakness, then Selly will do a lot more work for him.
For sure. I do like that he has Florges to pretty much be like a pseudo ice resist on the special side. So.
But something like a Mammoth Swine will come in on this team and just.
Right.
Hurt. Of course, you said it about a lot of teams. It's really a bad example, honestly.
Moving on now to the 6th-ranked team, the Bloomington Braylooms, coached by Btown. That team consists of Mega Gyarados, Mew, Volcarona, Zygarde 10%, Heliolisk, Seismitoad, Cryogonal, Carkeys, Mimikyu, Braviary, and the debut of Little Mac, the Breloom. That's it.
I think this is a really strong team. Definitely the thing that jumps out to me. You're just talking about how important rockers are. Like, you want a good balance of that. Only Toad, I believe, is the only rocker. Someone can correct me I guess Mew is also a rocker. I just don't consider. I never consider Mew as a rocker for some reason. I just don't think it ever likes to run rocks.
Yeah, it doesn't love to run rocks at all, but it can if it really needs to.
But it's a very good offense. Mega Gyarados and Volk are both great matchup mons. I think that like both those mons have those games where they just like you can lead off with it and almost just win on preview because they almost have nothing because your opponent just can't do anything about it to an extent.
Absolutely. I think this team is an absolute ton of setup, and it has like spikes and screens,
keys to really help. I really like
and potentially Spore from Breloom to set up those opportunities. Those I think are the biggest.
Screen, spikes, and sleep are so great on offense. And he has all three.
Absolutely. Like sleep is like one of those underrated things where not many teams will have an answer. For Breloom because the things that can take it will die to like a boosted attack or like a very strong bullet seed.
Yeah. You get grasses that are like bulky enough. The only thing to me, the only thing that can really check Breloom is like a Tangrowth, and that's like, but like that's just Tangrowth being stupid and awful. But like, you look at this team, you definitely have like it's a great offense led by like this Mega Gyarados Volcarona on like screens. That's like the first thing you kind of gravitate to. And there's this Mew that can like fill these like gaps defensively to an extent. And also can also just abuse the fact that Mew loves spikes if it's being offensive because Mew's weak. Mew's very weak.
Yeah. I think the offensive combination of Mega Gyarados, Volcarona, and Breloom is really like they break for each other really well.
Question now: how many times in this 11-week schedule do you think I will actually bring Breloom?
Ooh. I'm going around 7. I'm going for 7. I think Breloom's pretty strong.
I think Breloom's pretty strong. Like, I know it doesn't get drafted that much, but it's always a huge issue when it's there in that show.
Because people Breloom has so many sets. It's such a mon that hasn't been really like touched in Gen 7, which is really sad because it's really, really cool, I feel.
Yeah.
We get a number from Emma Dragon?
My number is 10.
Oh, for 10 of 11.
Most to be. Yeah.
And finally, the key to success. I personally have one particular that I think is very obvious.
Keys.
But
keys. Screens and spikes are great on offense, and as I said earlier, just like keys are so good with this team. If I had to guess like a second, Mimikyu is gonna be like my second close one.
Yeah.
Because Mimikyu is great at stopping like a deal with opposing offense, which is
Mimikyu
very
is
much struggles
cleaner
with.
where you pretty much cannot stop it from getting a source. It's impossible. Like no matter what you do, like you can taunt it, but that's about it.
You can taunt it or like status it with like Wisp or something, but that's about it. And it's a great stop to like opposing offense because like setup sweepers have to break the disguise. Right,
they have to, and it's kind of crazy. It's like when you think about it, it just provides so much for your team. And with all the offensive pressure that Btown has, I think Mimikyu will have a really easy time cleaning up. And it doesn't need screens to set up, so if they run out, no big deal.
Moving moving on now to our 5th ranked team, which is the Canton Crocodiles, coached by Rich. The team consists of the Psychic Terrain of Mega Alakazam and Tapu Lele. Also on the team are Ferrothorn, Cobalion, Darmanitan, Rotom Fan, Stoutland, Nidoqueen, Tyranitar, Noivern, and Teenage Empoleon.
Yeah. So,
strengths and weaknesses.
Yeah, so Megazam, Lele, Pharaoh, high quality stuff, especially with Tara's support trapping psychics for stuff like the Cobalion, and that front line is very hard for a lot of just like these more traditional like balanced teams to deal with, just because spikes, momentum between like Rotom Fan, Darmanitan, and like bringing in Lele Zam is like pretty often.
Yeah, I think this team has a ton of breaking. Like, I don't know if any team has any more breaking potential than this team. Like Zam, Lele, a Darm, even Queen kinda, and like a Bandit Tutor hits really, really hard.
Yeah, Bantar is really good. And like, Bantar baits in these fighting types, which is gonna then bring in like, one of the psychics.
Yeah.
Really, really tough. And like Tara is so nice with stuff like Zam, Lele, because baiting the poison moves or the steel, mainly like the poison move, the dark move, give Tara potential setup opportunities. You get the steel move, you get stuff in like the Rotom, the double steals. Like,
absolutely. Yeah, the double steals are the thing I love about this team. They both lead to fire and fighting, but like this team handles fires just fine with Cheetar and the Teenage Empoleon, I guess, and Wyvern. And they just do different things. Like Cobalion is free to be a setup system, which is amazing. It doesn't have to worry about setting up rocks or being the defensive stealer.
It doesn't have to be the steel type. It can be used as more of like that fighting type breaker that can be really successful at.
Absolutely.
This is a team that obviously on first glance is a Psychic Terrain abuser, but also it has the secondary of Sand. Do you feel that the that's Sandstorm will be more of a help or a hindrance for this team?
Sand is nice for like the extra speed control out of Stoutland, but
right.
Honestly, I think Sand is kind of almost irrelevant to an extent to the team. It's not really like a true Sand team. It's not like there's no drill, there's no like.
Not at all.
It's very much more of like Tara is there mainly as like an answer to like opposing psychics and like to help bring in other stuff. It's definitely not like it's not going to be like the true Sand piece on this kind of team, which is really great for Tara because Tara is so like infinite sets like.
Yeah.
And finally, the key to success for this team. It's a tough one between probably the big two.
I'm a sucker for Lele, so I'll say Lele. Lele's so good.
I would say Tutor has to be really good for this team. Like this team is very reliant on Tutor to beat Psychic.
Yeah. And
you're setting up Psychic Terrain for them.
On now to our second tie here. Is a tie for third. Again, we will go in reverse alphabetical order. So is the Lincoln? No, wait, not the Lincoln Lanterns. It is the Luxrays phase. On the team is headed up by Mega Heracross, Lando Therian, Roserade, Metagross, Mismagius, Ice Table, Clefable, Tauros, and Typhlosion, aka Best Starter from Gen 2. strengths and weaknesses, guys.
So, Lander, Steve Rotomarsh, Roserade, Greninja, Mega Heracross, Clefable. Like, that's just... You can just look at Mons, like, off this team. It's like, those are very good Mons. They're great momentum. He has great momentum options in Lando, Rotom, Greninja. That kind of mostly baiting grasses for this, like... For, like, one of the most incredible Mega Breakers, I think, in the entire format in Mega Heracross. I think he's incredibly underrated and incredibly underutilized. Clefable is a great fairy on the team. Takes that fighting pressure off of Lando, like especially since the Psychic isn't a true fighting resist, which is great. He has 3 incredible fighting resists that you have to run like almost coverage to hit, in like the Mega Heracross, the Lander's T, and the Clefable. And like you also have to break table if you're physical. So like
I think this team is really strong. I love how it can U-turn on voltage and prices, bring in big Mega Heracross. It's pretty much from the game. It kills everything. I like how he has the Roserade for fairies and the Metagross. Like, Roserade being a very offensive fairy check. One thing that sort of concerns me is like, I think the Rotom's very heavily project flying on this team. Special anyways, because the table can roll all the Brave Bird is.
Another thing that Rotom Wash looks to be taxed on is fire types. Mega Heracross, Roserade, and Metagross all weak to fire.
Yeah.
It's very true.
It's going to be like a really consistent fire resist, which Rotom's pretty good at doing, but definitely can be pressured by stuff like
it definitely can be pressured.
Like a Darmanitan will pressure to click U-turn. Charizard X is going to pressure pretty heavily. I mean, Landorus is like a pseudo like physical fire resist in some matchups that you look at, but like special fire types, like if this team went up against the Charizard Y, it'd be picking sacks every time, almost.
Every time.
Especially if you're dragonless like this team is, which isn't necessarily the worst thing, but is going to potentially hurt it in the long run.
I would have loved to see a rock type on this team. Would have taken pressure off if Landers set up rock as well, because I think these rockers are Landers, Metagross, and Clefable, which are good for sure.
Very good rockers, but don't necessarily always want, especially something like Landers, doesn't always want to run stealth rocks. It's a very good rocker, but it doesn't necessarily want to run rocks because it wants to run more offensive SD, rock polish, set up various sets.
Exactly, yeah.
And bonus question, how big this team's biggest breaking threats are, when you look at them, are physical attackers. Not to say that there aren't special attackers, but how important is it for, say, the likes of and Roserade to have to be special breakers for this team?
I don't know. There's no physical assault vest, so like like you can't like it's a lot. I feel like it's a lot harder to check a multitude of physical attackers on a draft, because you can put as much defense investment as you want, but eventually, when you look at something like a Lando, Megacross, Tauros, that Metagross kind of thing, that's going to be really, really hard to check over a sustained game like this team can play with.
Yeah, I agree. Also, just the fact that Fable's a very prominent setup mine special attacker, and you definitely want to check with that. And Roserade hits incredibly hard.
Finally, the key to success for this team, is it basically Rotom Wash, or is it another one?
It's Rotom or Lando. Rotom's gonna have to be really good on this team. It doesn't necessarily have to be like killing things, which is not Rotom's job. Rotom can do that in variances, but like Rotom's going to be really, really good on this team for it to be really successful.
Yeah, yeah, for sure.
We will now move on to our other team that's tied for 3, and that one is the Lincoln Lanterns, coached by Marv. That team consists of Mega Metacham, Tornadus Therian, Sylveon, Starburst Muck, Shaman, Swampert, Steelix, Yas, Escavalier, Chandelure, and Vicavolt. Strengths and weaknesses of this team.
This is just kind of on paper. It's more of your like standard momentum fighting type Alolan Muck, like Gen 7 offense to me. Tornadus, Alolan Muck fighting type, like with momentum, dragon, like checks all your very standard boxes. It's a very, very strong draft. The nice little double ground core with Pert, Steelix. They're both very good rockers. I've seen that third, which is a little annoying. I don't quite get the Escavalier pick personally. I'm not sure why. I'm not sure what it's doing there.
It's a little weird. That's definitely a little weird. I love the double ground corks too. It's one of the best.
The team is really pressured on like Steelix to check like flying types, or just flying moves in general. Because obviously they did draft the Vikavolt, which Vika is very, very good. I love that mon. I will forever call it a very good mon. It's so good. What it's definitely not. Something it's definitely not is a flying resist, and something like a I don't know, not an opposing torrent per se. Like a Celesteela can come in like an offensive like set and really do some damage here.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, flying definitely an issue. Moreover, I think I love the Medicham along my core. I think it's amazing, and I do like the fact that he's got another step to go with it.
Do we allow dry pass? I honestly forget.
We do allow dry pass.
Yeah, so like Medicham can like baton pass and just like baton pass on your psychics and just Alolan Muck, drop it in, click pursuit, open up Medicham for later.
Absolutely huge. Yeah, it's just a really strong draft. I think it checks a lot of boxes, like Clutch said.
If you just looking down your general boxes, it's a very, very strong, correct draft.
Absolutely.
As we talked about a little earlier about changes in tiers, maybe the biggest one that had the most talk was the move of Swampert to tier 4. For this team is Swampert in comparison to, say, having to settle for a different tier 4 water ground type. What does Swampert do for this team that other ones could not do?
It's gonna roar stuff, and it's gonna be tankier, and I love how Swampert just never gets drafted, and then when we move to tier 4, it goes like round 3 or 4 or whatever. It's like crazy.
Pert's good.
I think it's really solid.
It's just so bulky, and he has like great grass resist. Yeah. Like he has incredible grass checks. So it's not going to die.
Like a million grass ends.
Let's see, we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 grass checks that I count. Vika, Chandelure, Escav, Latias, Shaman, Alolan Muck, Torn, maybe 7. Like your extra little grass move is not going to do that much damage to Pert, and like he checks electrics. No electric can get through in this team, I feel. Between Pert and Lix, Vika, your electrics do nothing to this team.
No. And there's an Alolan Muck there as well.
Which is just so bulky.
Special electrics.
Yeah. Like,
I think he's got a ton of all-around bulk on this. I love how he's got the physically bulky Steelix, Pert, Shaman's pretty bulky. Yeah, especially Muck, Sylveon, Latias, that thing. It's a really good team.
It's a strong draft for sure.
And now the key to this draft.
It's gonna be like a little Muck.
It's gonna be a little Muck, I think.
Yeah, like being able to beat down fairies for like Lottie, and like for the double psychics and Lottie plus Medicham, which is like it's a great dark resist. Same with Sylveon. Like it's kind of the main dark resist in the team. Sylveon's like okay, but if it doesn't like taking knock too much, but yeah, it's kind of the main knock switch, and especially like grounds without recovery.
Right. Well, he does have knock switch, and Telix can take it.
Okay. But it doesn't like lose any leftovers, which is kind of the big thing with like and Oxygen.
For sure.
Moving on to the big boys, we now have our second ranked team, which is the Kanji Septiles, coached by Sealy. Consists of Mega Scizor, Zygarde 50%, Primarina, Crobat, all types, Gourgeist, all types, Radiprosma,
all types,
Nihil, and Caracosta. Strengths and weaknesses of this team.
Yeah, this is a really strong draft.
Yeah.
Scizor, Zygarde, Necro. It's some A+ stuff right there. Obviously,
amazing stuff.
He has the double poison core, which works out.
Yep. I love Crobat plus Zygarde and Primarina.
Yeah, I think bad Zygarde is really strong. I think if I had to like really put like my thing on like, this is like, it's gonna be a lot of pressure on like Scizor to take on Psychics, like Scizor Neck to take on Psychics, because like there's no Dark on the team. It's like Silvally Dark.
Yeah, like Silvally Dark.
But like that's not, to me, that's not a consistent Dark. And there's no ground poison is Nihilego, which is like really a decent ground poison. So like, it's like it comes in like it really appreciates the pressure that like Zygarde and Necro can put on steel types for your
Another thing to note is that he does have 3 rockers, but like Necro doesn't always want to run rocks. It's a good rocker for sure.
He has 4 rockers.
Nihilego just seems
4 rockers.
Yeah. All right, he does have 4 rockers. I guess Caracosta. Piloswine is a very, very good rocket. I think it's amazing Zygarde, and he's got a ton of great fighting answers to cover for that weakness as well.
You don't sleep on the Costep, Caracosta as like a lead rocker.
Like a project player.
He's got really strong removal options, and like the Scizor, Crobat are great removal options. Silvally, as much as people like love to hate it in this like area, it's still a decent defogger. It can beat a decent amount of rockers. Is decently fast and more than likely get it off. Like he has great T-Spikes potential. Something I really, really love is Zygarde on T-Spikes, and he has that option with Nihilego putting up T-Spikes for Zygarde.
For sure. That's just a strong team. I love that he's got the 4 times to stack Mega Skill, Zygarde, Nihilego. That's like really annoying. Opponent.
Next question. Silvally is always memed on for meh it is, but let's put this in a positive spin. What type of Silvally do you think this team needs most to succeed?
I mean, it's clearly dark. Because he doesn't have a dark type.
It's like not. I don't know. Silvally's just weird. It's like okay, you can like feel a variety of roles, but I just don't. I don't know. Sometimes it just doesn't work. In a lot of it's there and it exists and it'll do things, but it doesn't have recovery. And it's like the move pool is just weird enough where it's like you have things in it that are like useful, but not useful in a lot of matchups. It's just not.
Yeah, it's just
weird.
It's just weird. I think Fairy could be cool. Maybe
taking pressure off from Arena.
Water.
Nice.
Yeah. Water could be cool if you want to bring like bring Silvally's bulky water.
And finally now, the key to success for this team.
I got like Zygarde, probably.
It's a combination of Zygarde and Crobat.
Don't sleep on the Necrozma on this team because it could do it.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Like,
sure.
Because like he just doesn't. It's like you just like you look at Necro and you like look at his weaknesses and like you don't see it anywhere else. Like look at like Dark and like maybe it's like there's the Gourgeist, but that's literally the only other Dark weakness on the team. Like for U-turn, like and every other mon resists U-turn. So like you can't pressure it. It's really hard for a lot of like some of these teams to be able to get pressure off on this Necrozma.
Absolutely.
It is
Now moving
wait,
on to our top team. Oh, sorry, did you have one last thing to say?
It doesn't like he has a ghost resist. Someone correct me
Yeah,
if I'm
he
wrong.
doesn't. It's just Silvally.
Yeah, he has 0 ghost resist outside of Savali. So that's, again, Savali Dark. Heavily pressured to come. Okay.
I don't like how Silvally is very predictable. He has to run Dark, right? Or normal.
If there's like a strong ghost in the other end, like a Mismagius or something like that, even like.
Yeah, it's just pretty predictable.
Mm-hmm.
It's not a good.
Okay, I'm done now.
Yeah.
Now moving on to our top team of the power rankings. The Honolulu All-Stars, coached by Link, and what an all-star team it is. Mega Galay, Tapu Koko, Tangrowth, Bronzong, Venomoth, Licky, Como-O, Volcanion, Zoroark, and Tornadus Incarnate. Strengths and whatever nitpicks you can come up for weakness.
This team is broken.
Yeah, it's Coco. Coco double fightings with like a strong offense, like defensive backbone, and Tangrowth, Bronzong, Palisand can take a lot of options there.
Absolutely. I love Palisand on this team. I think very good fighting it. Got Bronzong isn't resistant. He's got good Lilwell, best defogger, and Volcanion.
His defoggers, he's like removal options, but I don't think they're like necessarily good removal options. Like Volcanion is obviously the quote unquote best defogger, prankster defog, all in that jazz. But it's so hard to run defog Tornadus. And same with like Volcanion, it's good. Like I know it has but it has very obvious checks, and you have to like try and find a way to beat those. Like Venomoth is a defogger, but again doesn't want to run defog all the time. Same with Coco.
Right. Same with Coco. If you were to point out a nitpick, that would be it.
Yeah, it's just a true lack of
something else.
He doesn't have any to me he doesn't like pressure removal from his opponent as well. Because stuff like he doesn't have like spikes options, which would be perfect on this team. Like no spiker, which means like you're not really punishing those switches. You force with like Coco and Mega Galade and Como-O and Volcanion. Those things pressure switches so much, and there's no spikes to really take advantage.
Yeah, that would have been great for sure. I do like that he's got set up.
But like Coco Gal, Como-O. That's some good stuff. Offensively, this team is so tough to deal with. But if you can try and slow it down, and like try and force them to maybe get some hazards on the other side, then you can definitely start trying to like play your own offensive game against them.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's a very tried and true recipe. Fast electric plus the Gigalade Camo. It's like, and it's got the Volcanion at the back. Very good special breaker. Tangled and Bronzong on grounds. It's just a ton of options. It's a very strong team.
Scariest Zoroark disguise option, with in mind that Coco disguising as Coco does not bring up electric terrain.
That's kind of funny.
Forget about that. Sometimes.
It would be really weird to see Coco that comes out and no electric terrain.
Zoro's cool on the team with like Galade and Como-O because you might pressure because you can might be able to get a psychic again and like beat that for like the double fightings, but
yeah, I think the scariest pair is Camo. Like usually you see a Camo, you kind of want to switch out, and Zoro can like nasty plot Sludge Bomb and kill your fairy, and suddenly your Camo it sweeps.
Yeah, that's kind of the that's the best like pairing with it, especially since like both Como-O and Zoro get SD and like kind of have like weird similar coverage move pools, so like you might be able to like conceal for a little bit.
Now I'm gonna change it up for the last question on the last team because we all know that the most important mon on this team is Tapu Koko. Name an underrated mon that you think is very important. One of the other.
I think it's
Oh, Moth is gonna be really useful on this team. Being able to like take up T-spikes on this team is going to be really vital because one of the best like ways to check offense is toxic spikes. So
like this team has so many Gallade, Channel, Volcanic, even Coco. And I'm not just gonna.
So it always crits at Z move. And that is going to wrap it up for our D2 discussion. We hope that you come back for our talk on the PL side.
Yep.
Thank you guys for watching.
Yeah.
See you guys.